Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first Liverpool Rumours podcast of the new Premiership season with Ed001 and Ed333. I'm only half a devil. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I'm still suffering from that bad gag you just attempted, but apart from that, I'm fine.
You're always suffering from something, aren't you? How was your summer, mate?
Well, it would have been a lot better, but you kept phoning me up and stuff, so that kind of ruined it. Took the gloss off the break from football, How about yourself?
Talking about football, not bad, mate. Thanks for asking. Been travelling quite a bit and editing less, so yeah. How's life been without football since that glorious night in Madrid?
I'm still celebrating. What are you talking about? I haven't stopped yet. What about you?
I don't know. That pre-season took the gloss off the celebrations for me, but that second half against Man City made up for it, mate. All right. Anything to say about number 6 before we crack on?
It's just one of those moments you're lucky enough to live through, isn't it? It was a fantastic performance, really. And, a great night for all involved.
I mean, I've watched it a few times since, and I've got to say, that was a harsh penalty, mate. I thought it was really harsh, and especially in the first minute. And it was bloody hot out there. I don't know how they produced football.
Yeah, it was a bit too hot, and I don't like the fact that it was 3 weeks after the start. After the season had ended. That was a huge mistake by the Premier League. It wasn't right, but.
Do you know why that was? Was that UEFA? Was that the Premier League?
Premier League.
What was the reasoning?
They just set the fixtures to finish then. I don't know why. That was when they chose to finish.
All right, mate. Well, I suppose they're going to learn from their mistakes or not, maybe, as the case may be.
This is the Premier League. They've never learned from their mistakes. I mean, they keep making they made the mistake of shortening down the transfer window, and what did they do when there was problems created from shortening the transfer window? They shortened it even more.
Talking about transfer window, we'll be getting on to that shortly. We've got lots to talk about, mate. Lots of talking points. So let's crack on. Let's suppose we start with the Charity Shield. What did you make of the game?
The first half wasn't so good. I mean, it wasn't bad. We were, giving them as good as we got because they weren't really creating many chances, City, which surprised me. Not really good ones. Few, but not like you'd expect when we were struggling so badly in the first half. But the second half, we by far the better team. Came to something. Even Andy Gray, was on the covering the one I watched, and even he was saying how much better Liverpool were, and you could tell it's stuck in his throat to say it because he hates to say anything good about Liverpool, but even he was saying Liverpool were by far the better side and deserved to win it, so that'll do for me. And it's friendly. It doesn't matter if you actually win it. It's just the performance was good to see.
Absolutely, especially after the I know that you're a big believer in pre-season being about fitness rather than performance, but it was a complete.
You don't want your players going up there and playing with full intensity like they do in proper matches. Otherwise, you're risking injuries and stuff. So you can't expect them to perform like it's like it's a season. It has to be just about getting fit and taking it easy. So, no,
absolutely.
If you lose games, it doesn't matter. I mean, the difference was the teams we were facing treated it as serious games, because for them, we're the reigning Champions League holders, so it's a big scalp for them. For us, they were just another pre-season friendly.
Yeah, that Larouci tackle was evidence of that clearly.
Oh, that was horrible. That one.
Oh, that was GBH, ABH, manslaughter. All of the above, I think.
How was that not a red? Straight red? You know what I mean? How was that not a straight red? Straight away,
That not?
I mean, suspension.
How's that not a jail term?
Yeah, it was a horrible challenge. And he's just a kid as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll be talking about him later on because I've got lots to say about him. Going back to the Charity Shield, mate. That Pep and Hendo ruckus was quite funny, I thought.
Yeah, well, kept as usual trying to get as much as he can out of the officials, as most managers do, to be fair. But he seems to be particularly good at it and seems to get away with it more than most. So it was nice to see him get booked, to be honest. But like when he was trying to accuse Gomez of stamping on and deliberately trying to injure, I think was it Silva? Was it David Silva? I think it wasn't it?
David Silva, mate. I think so, yeah.
And he was accusing Joe Gomez doing that. All he did was kick the ball, and David Silva kicked the bottom of his foot. It was, his follow-through kicked the foot rather than Gomez stamped on him. It was a ridiculous thing to say.
We've clearly got into the head of Pep Guardiola as a team and as a club, as a set of players, as Jurgen Klopp.
He's been making a few comments about how, he wouldn't have swapped what they won for the Champions League and all that, but everyone knows he's there for one reason and one reason only, to win the Champions League. So he's lying, basically. We all know that. He wanted the Champions League, we wanted the Premier League. It's just didn't work out like that.
He'd give both sets of grandparents for the Champions League.
Yeah, because that's the whole remit he was hired on was to win the Champions League for Man City. That's all they're interested in. So. Yeah,
exactly. Right, moving on to man of the match, which was Kevin De Bruyne for some reason.
Hey.
Is that a joke? If they were going to give it to a City player, why didn't they give it to their keeper, Bravo? He was excellent.
Yeah, he made a couple of good stops, but I don't. De Bruyne was one of their better players, but not man of the match good. Basically, I thought Salah was the man of the match.
Absolutely. Without my Scouse goggles on, even I could see that he was man of the match. It was something. I think the stats were he had 10 shots on target, 2 more than City managed as a whole team. He completed 5 dribbles, I think it was, the most by any player. So I'm not sure what the man of the match adjudicator, what match he was watching, but Salah was, what was that, a week after a holiday? He did that he terrorised the City team.
I'm not even sure it was a week after, wasn't it? Literally, he came back for the game.
I think it was, yes, yeah. They'll be training at Evian for a week in France, wasn't it?
I didn't think he went to there. I thought he came straight back to the UK, if I remember rightly. I thought it was Firmino and Mane were there, but he wasn't, if I remember. Mane
wasn't there. Salah and Becker were there.
Becker, that was who I was meaning. That was who I was meaning.
I could be wrong. Yeah, exactly.
I thought Salah didn't go to Evian and came straight back to the UK. I might be wrong. But he certainly hadn't played any games until that.
Mate, we've got him now, and that's the main thing. What do you think about this accusation that Salah's way too greedy?
Well, there's also, he was picking the formation for Egypt to play in the summer as well during the AFCON. He was picking the team and everything.
What, Salah was?
Yeah. That's definitely 100%. I'm not making that up for anything. He picked they asked him, "How do you want to play?" And then they're all gutted because they didn't win it.
and he picked his buddies. What was I going to say? Yeah, because I know from my friends in Egypt that they had zero faith in that coach. It was a Mexican coach they had.
I can't remember who it was.
They had no faith in him, and they couldn't get rid of him quickly. I think they fired him after the AFCON.
Yeah, he went straight afterwards.
But I didn't know Salah was picking the team.
Yeah, seems a bit.
His player power.
It seems a bit unfair to sack the manager when the player's picking it.
That's like Messi in Argentina. Do you remember when the coach was asking Messi what to do? And they go out of the tournament and they fire their coach. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, you can't.
What about Walker's goal line clearance? Though
that was
absolutely.
To be fair,
phenomenal.
If you're going to give it to a City player, you've got to say Walker probably deserved it for that alone. 'Cause that was stunning.
That was out of this world. That was like superhero stuff. That was like stuff you get in Endgame or something. And it was like almost movies you watch. Superhero movies.
Yeah. You love 12? It too. Yeah.
I like my films a bit more real, like Debbie Does Dallas.
You don't even know what that's like long before your time.
Mate, I'm sad to. Honestly, it's embarrassing to admit that was exactly my time
Really?
and your
God, it was,
time.
no, it was before mine, mate. I don't.
You're a year. You're about 30 days younger.
It's a long time in real life, though. And you had a hard
It
paper round when you were a kid, so you look a lot older.
Yeah, I didn't even have a bicycle. I had to walk that paper round.
So you should do.
In the snow.
Yeah, he's right.
All right. Anything else to add about the Charity Shield, mate?
Not that I can think of. No. I think we've done that.
So just going back to my point about Salah being little bit greedy. I feel that he could pass a little bit more. Would score a bit more. Would score more goals.
But when?
What do you feel?
Well, when? Which one's the one time he did have someone breaking in the box that was in a good place for him to pass to. He played the pass and Keita missed the shot, didn't he? I don't think there was.
Yeah, but
when you look at it, when you go back and look at it again, I don't think he could see the pass from where he, when he's dribbling past someone, he can't see the pass until after he's decided to shoot. If you see what I mean.
Fair point. I appreciate what you're saying, but I think my question is going back a little bit to last season as well. End of last season, I feel that he could have passed a little bit more, I think that's.
He was being accused of that in his first season with us as well. So, when you score goals, I remember it really well, especially at the start of the season before he got off on that goal-scoring run. Everyone was whining about how selfish he was, and he is. But that's why he scores goals. Goal scorers are selfish. They don't pass because they want to score. Otherwise, they wouldn't be goal scorers. You know what I mean? You look at Firmino. That's why he doesn't score as many goals as Salah. Not because he's not capable of them, but because he chooses to pass first.
There's an irony there in Firmino because in his contract, I believe that he's on X amount of thousands if he scores goals, and he chooses to pass rather than shoot more often than not. That's really, that's what a team player. He's a real team player.
Yeah, and the win bonus probably makes up for it, to be fair.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But, excuse me. So you don't have a problem with Salah being that little bit greedy, no?
I would worry about him if he started passing every time he got into those positions, to be honest. You want him to have the shots. Okay, some of them are going to go nowhere. Some of them are going to go into the keeper's arms, and some of them are going to go in the back of the net. Yeah. That's how it works, you know? But what you want is him to get more of them in the back of the net. That's the key for me.
Talking about that, I feel as if now his patent used to be, his signature shot used to be coming to the left and then just try and curl it into the left-hand corner. Now I feel he's dragging it to the near post now. Do you see what I mean? Lately. So he's added that to his game. So hopefully they start going in as well.
Yeah, well, anything that mixes it up is always a plus because, you don't want to...
That's what he started doing.
Yeah, so long as he still sometimes puts the curler into the far post so the keeper's edging that way still and opening up the gap near post. Yeah.
I feel he was telegraphing his shots now recently, but now he's added that he's going near post now. So hopefully that'll bear fruit. All right, mate. Do you want to move on to the thing most fans care about? Is transfers?
Oh, I thought it was going to say. I thought it was going to be what I got for my birthday or something.
a triple extra large Liverpool top, no doubt.
Funnily enough, no. This year is the first year I haven't been given anything Liverpool.
Full kit, I bet. Socks and everything, right?
No, I never wore the full kit. Only this year. The only shorts I've got are for the ones that have been cheap you buy and you just wear as PJs, isn't it?
Well,
couldn't go FKW. No way. I know you do. This year, do you know what? I actually don't think I got a fucking thing this year. Sorry, language. Oops. Apologies.
Listen, I've been trying to control myself from expletives. I'm glad you said it first.
Oh, I can't believe I did that.
All right, mate. Transfers. If we don't make any first team signings, it's not all doom and gloom, is it?
Well, we've made 3. We've
Are
made
they for the,
Vandenberg, Elliott, and Adrian.
yeah.
So
I want to
yeah.
go on to that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying they're first team signings, so I don't see it don't see it as so desperate. I know people keep on about what happens if we get injuries, but you can't just sign the best players in the world just in case you get injuries. That's where, but that was the problem Barcelona had, is when they tried to keep all these extra players happy, and it just ended up falling apart, and they had to sell more than they wanted to, because you lose too many players that way. You end up in a massive turnover of players, and they ended up then with just Messi. You know what I mean? It's you have to you have a core, and then you just have reserves around it. Most of the time, most teams, you are stuck with kids and players that are not as good, because you simply can't have 24 great players in one squad. They just won't stay happy. People get too carried away. They go on about Man City having 22, but they don't. I mean, look at how many fullbacks have they got? Right backs. They've got Kyle Walker. Who's the other one? Danilo, who's trying to leave.
Mendy.
Left back. No, that's a left back. Mendy.
Right. Okay, right.
He's awful. Left back, Mendy. And they bought back one they sold. That's it. That's their left back, Zinchenko. You know what I mean? Who's actually a midfielder. There's only a few positions they've got extra for. And, well, who's that like now? They've got Fernandinho as an extra in midfield, but he's on his way out. And up front, they've got who extra? I mean, the only reason they've got Jesus and Aguero together is because Aguero wouldn't go. Stayed and fought for his place, but now Jesus wants to go. So, Sané's there, but he wants to go. So,
true. You think that transfer happening?
The Sané one.
Did you see that transfer? Yeah.
Well, I can't. He's not going to sign a new contract, is he? They're basically saying as much, aren't they? So I can't see him staying. He'll just be after the English window shut, so he can't go England, I think.
Oh, good point. I didn't think of that. So it'll be forcing City's hand. Right, going back to Liverpool. Has this squad got what it takes to make another Premiership challenge and go deep into the Champions League, in your opinion?
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, you do need luck with injuries and stuff like that, but it wouldn't matter what team. City need the same as well. People are going to say, they had De Bruyne out most of the last season, but they had David Silva back when the previous season he'd been, he'd missed large chunks of it because of his child being ill. So, these things, they knew he was going to be out for it, and they knew De Bruyne was going to be out, which is why David Silva stayed. Otherwise, he'd have gone a year earlier. He'd have gone last summer, not this summer. Next summer coming, I mean.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I honestly think that we have, for the first time in a long time, a great first 11, and the foundation is absolutely rock solid. I just think now, going on, we need 1 or 2 signings a season, because we've got the nucleus of the team on long-term contracts. And that costs money as well. People forget about that. To nail these people down onto longer-term contracts costs a small fortune.
The wages are high. That's one thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's worth it, though. And most of them are young and still improving. There's only really Milner, Henderson, and Van Dijk who are at peak. I think it's Van Dijk. Isn't Van Dijk 28? Yeah, off the top of my head.
27, I think it is 28.
This one is 28, and Henderson's 29, I think, and the rest are like 25 or under, aren't they? So roughly.
Absolutely.
And Firmino.
Firmino, yeah, and getting these guys on a long Mane, Firmino, Salah on long-term contracts means that we're in a position of power if somebody comes calling to buy them. So they've got to give us a king's ransom. So this is powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can go and replace them if they go. And that's when that's
Absolutely.
when you need a big signing. Is when you lose someone.
Yeah.
That's when it makes that's when it matters. Like when Coutinho went. Now I know I've always said, even before he went, I said we'd improve when he went. I said we're better off without him. I said that before, and I still I think the stats and the way we performed have proved me right. But if we hadn't gone out and and bought in the summer following him going, it would have sent out the wrong message to the players.
I remember us having a conversation when Coutinho left, and I think I was in tears and I was very emotional. I remember, and you telling me it was the best thing that could happen to us. And I kind of hated you for a while because I just said,
"You've never liked me anyway."
Yeah, well, at least you know, eh?
Yeah.
But it was the catalyst for this beautiful blossoming team we have now. Coutinho going.
Yeah,
because the style of play changed. The money we got in, the style of play changed, and it was all positive. And I didn't see that at the time clearly because I was so upset because I just thought he was. He brought so much to the team.
Whereas I thought he took more, as much away as he could put in. If anything, he took more away from the way he played. Sometimes these individual players, they're great. They look great to watch, and he did look great. But what they actually do, it tends to take away from the rest of the team. I think he was one of them. I think the same back when Wayne Rooney left Everton, all the Everton fans were gutted, but it was the best thing that could have happened to them. Because they stopped relying on him for one, and for two, the money meant they could go out and buy players to rescue them. Otherwise, they'd have been struggling against relegation with him still in the team.
Yeah.
They got rid of him, they could go and buy the players and improve their whole squad. And we did the same with Coutinho. I mean, that paid for Van Dijk and Alisson, basically.
Absolutely. Look where we are now. And I don't want to say you're right because I could never bring myself to say that. No, I'm about Coutinho. No.
I'm just saying, and Alisson. And
Alisson, I honestly... No. Wait. Don't get carried away. But I'll give you Coutinho, but I'll give you Alisson as well. Because I remember we had that conversation. You were telling me he is like the second coming. And I said, and that was after, I don't know, the 34 goals he let through against us and against when he played for Rome. And I was like, are you sure, mate? Because this guy is not, I didn't see anything to, evidence to suggest that this guy is any good. He just let in a hatful of goals against us.
I did take a lot of stick on the sites about that as well after the Roma games.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone was telling, are you sure you know what you're talking about? He didn't look that good against us. I was saying, you can't judge him on 2 games. Honestly, this lad is special. So it's nice to be proven right when he signs for you.
It doesn't happen often, does it, Tristan? Let's face it now.
No, because they normally go elsewhere, the players I want, don't they?
No, you being proved right. That's what I'm talking about.
Come on. You've just said... I've just mentioned 3 occasions there. Fabinho, Alisson, Coutinho. There you go.
No, Coutinho and Alisson I give you. Fabinho, I was all over anyway, so I was singing his praises.
Yeah, but I was still right as well, so...
No, sorry. Oh, my God. That's 3 times Fabinho. I thought you were talking about Bobby. Yes. Fabinho. Yeah. Yes. Oh, my God.
See? That's just in the last season.
The sweet taste of vindication. Tristan Burke, how do you feel, eh?
I'm just not used to it.
Mate, I have to, just going back to the Alisson thing, that save he made against Napoli in the last seconds of the game in the Champions League last season, he's just paid for his transfer fee there alone. What a save! What a save!
But I read some of the comments on the site that people that didn't rate him, obviously, were trying to dig him down because they were like, oh, you'd expect him to make a save like that. Yeah, you'd expect him to make a save like that. But if it was just about any other goalkeeper in the world, you'd expect it to be in the back of the net. He is that good. You can see why he's Brazil's number 1.
You told me that he is, and quote unquote, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he is the best Liverpool keeper you've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see Clement, so it's from Grobbelaar onwards. Before that, I was too young to see Clement's play, so, you know.
I'm calling bull on that one, mate. You're 30 days younger than me, and I remember Clement.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
That's right. You didn't have you didn't have a TV in your family.
Yeah, exactly. We were poor. No, you didn't have football wasn't on TV back then. What are you talking about?
It was, mate, but your parents didn't have a TV.
We had black and white sometimes. I had one of those little ones that were like, do you remember them? You get them and you had like a aerial sticking out the back, and they were just like this box of a radio on the side, but the TV screen was smaller than a phone. Do you remember them?
Hangers.
Yeah, but do you remember the TV screen was smaller than the phone screen now, and you think you used to watch TV on that? And the thing,
millennials don't know how good I've got it.
But the thing was was like a huge monster box thing for a TV screen that was smaller than a phone.
Oh my God! It was the greatest day of my life when we had Channel 4 came out. Do you know what I mean? That was
we stayed in to watch it. We stayed in to watch it.
Remember Brookside? Channel 4.
Of course, I remember Brookie. My uncle was in it.
Which one was your uncle?
Oh, he was only a couple of extra scenes in the first few episodes, like so.
Oh, got you, mate. I used to love that.
We used to get to go on the set.
Did you?
Yeah, I went to set a few times. Well, my granddad was the medical consultant for a while, but he quit. You remember they did the Siege?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
With Billy.
Well, yeah, they lowered the body out the window, and that was when he quit because he said they wouldn't have done that. They'd just taken it down the stairs, and they were saying to him, "Yeah, but it'd be more exciting if we lowered the body out the window." He said, "Yeah, but we wouldn't do that. We'd let him take him down. We'd just take him on a stretch down the stairs." And after an argument, he just walked out on him. So refused to have his name put on the titles after it.
So he left the job of a lifetime over principle.
Oh yeah, he always like that. That was my granddad for you. I mean, he nearly lost his job because he stood at one of them all ambulance men to be trained as paramedics, and it was too expensive. The NHS said, and he fought for that for years. He was the first paramedic in the UK. Trained
as Mick Jagger once said, principles are overrated. I totally agree with him. Mate, we digress. Going back, should we have strengthened from a position of power?
If you can, yeah. If the right player's available, but you don't just buy for the sake of buying, and that's the problem is, that's what fans want. They want to just to buy someone, and it doesn't work like that. You have to buy the right player. If it's not improving the side, why do you buy them?
So why didn't we buy?
Because there was nobody. Who are you going to buy to improve the side? I'm not being funny. Name someone that was available to us that we could go and buy that would want to join us. I mean, you say Pepe, people kept on Pepe, and like if Salah had gone, he was an option, but he would not have joined Liverpool to play number 2 to Salah, and he would have been number 2. Salah's not going to Salah doesn't want to sit on the bench. You've seen what it's like. He gets a cob on when he's left out for the cup game. So
let's talk about Salah for a little bit. Why did he want to leave, and why did he stay?
Apparently it's his dream to play for Real Madrid, but what the Egyptians I know that know the family or slightly related to him, they all blame the agent because they hate him. He's right. Most of them seem to detest him, so he seems to be very much getting the brunt of it. But I'm not convinced it is just the agent. It is about money, in my opinion.
Okay.
He is very much about money. You've got to remember, he does all these sponsorship things, and that nearly caused a falling out with the club at one point last season.
Because of all the PR stuff that he does, the promotion.
Yeah, the flying out to New York and all that mid-season and all that kind of thing.
I don't know where I feel that if he's performing and he's performing, just let him do what he wants. I
Well,
mean, it's a short career.
yeah, but he's a multi-millionaire already. It's not like he needs the money, is it? They're saying he should concentrate on his game, and if his game dips. But basically, I think that was pretty much the gist of the final decision. Is we're asking you to do a bit less, but so long as your performance don't dip, we're not gonna get all, put our foot down about it. But if your performance is dipped, then you've got to understand that we're telling you that this is a problem. So.
Absolutely. He's got to have some checks and balances. I get that. But you've got to, I think that we've got to also appreciate that he is an ambassador for his country. And if he does go on.
Not just his country as well. You got to remember all of the whole. You speak to any Arab here. You wear a Liverpool shirt out here. I tend not to wear one at all anymore, just because you can't walk
anymore. Right?
Well, no, it's just you can't go anywhere. You literally get just mob you to talk about him, and it is about Salah 99% of the time. It's Salah they want to talk about, all the Arabs and especially the Egyptians. But it's not just the Egyptians. Yeah. Any Arab will stop you to talk about Salah. They absolutely worship him. I mean, you go to sports shops here, and even before he had this deal with Adidas, so now they got him because he's got all the Adidas stuff up. But before that, they just had pictures of Salah in there in all the sports shops, and they got selling nothing to do with him, but they just had pictures of Salah up. And it's like. But you've got nothing, most of them, because New Balance have their own stores in the area. They don't sell them through, like, normal sports stores. You could only get New Balance from New Balance stores. But, and the only thing they sell they were selling up till then was the Liverpool shirts, was the only thing you could buy with Salah on. But they didn't sell them in any of the sports shops, just in New Balance shops. But they all had pictures of Salah everywhere, and you're thinking, what's the point in that? But it's just because they love him.
So he's really an ambassador for the Arab world.
Yeah, really. and a lot of Muslims as well seem to think the same as well.
Absolutely. So him going to somewhere like Real Madrid it's only beneficial for the Arab world, for relations, that kind of stuff, politically. So it's a political thing, really, more than as well as a sporting thing.
Yeah, and I still think the money is the big motivator, though. They do pay a lot more than Liverpool.
And he's a greedy bugger. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that. I wouldn't say that that's totally him. As in, I mean, more like the agent is saying you can double your money constantly in his ear. Because Rami Abbas is very much about the money.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, he did a business degree at Leicester University, didn't he? De Montfort, De Montfort, yeah, exactly. You think we've got him for another season, then he's off?
I'd say if we win the Champions League again in the league, I don't think he'll, I mean, and I'm not sure Real Madrid want him, to be honest. So where does he go?
I think they're looking at Mbappe for next season.
Yeah, Mbappe they want.
Yeah. But let's draw a line under the Salah thing, just to say he does a heck of a lot. He may do a lot for his own financial gain, but he does a heck of a lot.
Oh, you can't argue with
Ronaldo
for
charity.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. It's brilliant. And Mane and lots of others. Well, Trent's another one.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, he gives. His friend's mother started a charity about giving an hour a day or something, or an hour a week, or whatever it is for charity and he's one of the main. He's the supporter of it. Who set it up, gave them the funds to start it and all that, and he's fully involved in that.
Love that. Great guy. And Mana, he was on his 2 weeks. I mean, he's only had 2 weeks since the AFCON. And he was building a school or something in his home, in his village or in Africa. I mean, that's something.
He's another one. He does a lot for charity, and it's great to see. It's what you want from your players, really.
Absolutely, you make a great point. I mean, I think for the first time, in my opinion, in my time, and I've been watching Liverpool for 35 years or so, that this is the first time I feel we've got such a bonding, a kind of, they're all friends and they do stuff. They're selfless, like, and that just bodes well for the way we play and the results on the pitch.
And they all seem to get on great as well. I mean, you only got to look at Lovren and Salah's, is it Instagram?
Bromance.
Yeah, whichever one it's on, I can't remember now. But those two,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. It's great to see as well.
Yeah. Lovren just follows him round like a lovesick puppy. It cracks me up.
Have you ever seen that show, People Just Do Nothing?
Yes, that was hilarious.
Lovren's the guy, not MC, Salah's MC Grinder, and Lovren's the other one. His name I've forgotten now. That's who it always reminds me of.
What, the chubby Indian guy?
No,
no,
both
MCs,
you're him.
Yeah.
You're him.
Yeah.
Micro penis and everything.
You can't say that in this day and age.
What? That you've got a micro penis? Sorry, is that a secret?
Your missus don't seem to mind it.
Wow. Each to their own.
Right, moving swiftly on, mate. So going back to the squad, you don't think it's not FSG providing the finances? The reason we didn't buy anybody?
No, they've just made a huge. Right. They know that, you win things is how you make money. I'm not being funny. You've only got to look at the way that this is the problem. People get them mixed up with other groups. They're not in it just for the money. Don't get me wrong. One day they intend to sell for a profit, but they got into it because they want to win things. They're sports mad people. They're a group of. It's like a group of lads got together who had millions of pounds, got together and decided they wanted to decided they wanted to win things in the sport they love. Started with baseball, obviously with was it Red Sox, Boston Red Sox, isn't it? And hence the FSG name, the Fenway. But then one of them, I forget which one it was. One of them's a big Liverpool fan. Anyway, and is it Tom Werner or one of them? Anyway, he's a big Liverpool fan anyway, and he talked them into buying. It was him that wanted to buy Liverpool because he wanted to.
Werner. It wasn't Werner. It wasn't Hogan. It's another guy. I can't remember his name now, but he was always in their ear about buying Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember his name. It'll come to me in a minute, but he didn't hear. He was just on. He was going on at Werner and Henry to buy Liverpool. It'd be a great investment, and he didn't hear anything. And then one day the phone rang, and they just said to him, "Right, tell us about Liverpool. You've got the weekend to compile a dossier on why we should buy Liverpool." And that's how the ball got rolling.
Yeah, exactly. They've not bought it as purely an investing. They bought it to have, it's a game for them basically. They're so rich. They've got more money than they know what to do with, so they want to do things, have fun. It's a bit like Michael Owen with his horses and that. He doesn't buy them to invest and make money in them. He buys them because he wants to win races. The fact that he can make money as well is a bonus rather than it's the aim of it.
No, and FSG's baby is Boston Red Sox. The amount of time, love, and affection they put into that team is ridiculous. And and they make them winners as well. At one point, I think they had the highest amount of. For a long time, they had the highest amount of wages. They had the most expensive player, and I think that doctrine is transferring over to Anfield little by little. And they realise in order to make us successful, they have to put money into the team and into the club, i.e. the new Melwood, and spending X amount of money. We did the record amount of transfer we did last season. So I'm happy. I'm
gutted with losing Melwood though. I got many happy memories of going there. So
because you used to put your milk crates up over there with your binoculars,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What? There's a big uproar with the local residents as well about Liverpool moving to Kirkby instead of staying at
Kirby.
Melwood. What do you feel about
It's
that?
not Kirkby. It's Kirby. Say it right. Kirby. And you have to say going to Towney if you're from Kirby. Not going to town, it's Towney. I don't know why.
All right, mate.
I don't know. They have their own language there, mate, honestly.
I appreciate it.
It's where Phil Tomo's from.
All right. Can you answer the question now?
So, yeah, what was the... yeah, they just had... it's just over what they're doing with it. Because they're building houses and, some of the locals wanted to do something, wanted it to be more of a memorial to Melwood.
Gotcha. I think they got 10 million from a developer or something for it.
It's not exactly that big, though. It was only a school playing field before we bought it.
I didn't realise it was that small. No.
No, it was just school playing fields, and we bought it would have been the 50s, I think, if I remember. I did cover it in the Managers series I do on the articles,
Gotcha.
But it was it was just something like the 50s that bought it. It was just a school playing fields because they didn't have a training pitch till then. So I mean, it's not big, it's not massive or anything. It's not big, and I mean, it's quite. It did need to move, to be fair, but still feels. Yeah.
Anything that improves or gets results on the pitch, I'm in favour of, mate. And look, you see Man City's training facility.
Oh, it's fantastic.
They're like extraordinary. They're out of this world.
Middlesbrough's is amazing as well.
Absolutely, so
they got a stadium up there and everything. Their training ground, a big hotel, which is where all the away teams stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Middlesbrough or Man City?
Middlesbrough. I mean, if even Middlesbrough can do it, it's about time we did it, to be fair. And I mean, you get it. Yeah. We've got to move with the times. It's still a sad day for me because I like going at Melwood and that,
That's about the only place you weren't banned from in Liverpool, wasn't it?
I think there was a couple more. Me nans. Me aunties.
All right, mate. I think this is a good time to talk about transfer speculation. I want to get some of your views on the targets or apparent targets. Number one, Julian Brandt.
Well, we tried to get him before, so Klopp preferred him to Salah before Salah arrived. So I'm going to trust Klopp's judgment on that, But I don't think he's. I personally, he wouldn't be one I'd be interested in signing if it was me picking. It's
right.
Not that he's bad. It's just that he's not as good as the alternatives for me. For me, if we were looking for someone else, if possible, the one I'd break the bank for, and there's only a few players in the Bundesliga I would. It's either of the two centre backs for RB Leipzig, the two they're like 19, Upamecano and the other guy whose name I forgot, who's definitely I would, and the right back I did a player profile on a few weeks back as well, though I forget his name from them. Kai Havertz and Jadon Sancho, they're the only ones in the Bundesliga that are worth looking at, in my opinion.
Havertz is on his way to
Munich, exactly. So you'll forget him, but
I
know we were linked to Werner, but the guy can't play in a loud environment. What would we want him for? It's all right. It's all right.
He'd be better off going to Everton.
I knew you were going to say that one. I was waiting for it. That's why I stopped. But that's why he's all right at RB Leipzig. Because not being funny, they're not exactly. They're a bit. They're the MK Dons of the German league. Remember, franchise FC.
Nagelsmann will get them going though.
Oh, he's a great manager.
Superb. I'd have him if Klopp decides to go. I'd take Nagelsmann any day over anybody. Love the way he plays football. All right, mate. Cornet?
Yeah, well, I've not seen a lot of him, to be honest. I don't remember him against Man City. Everyone keeps talking about that game. They were the ones where they played Man City last season. I watched him, but I don't remember him. I was watching somebody. I can't even remember who's in the team, but I was actually doing player profile on someone in the team, so I was literally concentrating solely on watching somebody else. So I don't really remember him at all. But people tell me he's lightning quick and not much else to him.
See, I watched that game, and I wasn't fully focused on the game because I was doing other things, I think. But he's one of them that everybody like. I think they just want him for the sake of a signing because most people don't even know what type of footballer he is, if he's any good or not. And that's what I mean. It's just this. Go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that is the problem at the moment. Everyone just wants a signing.
Exactly, and they just have anybody like. And I mean, excuse my disrespect or offence, but it's like signing Lallana. I mean. But it's like we don't want to stockpile players that aren't that good because they're going to be very difficult to get rid of because they're going to be on if they don't perform.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be buying them unless you think good enough. But if the team if Klopp and that think he's good enough, then fine. I mean, he's only got to provide cover anyway, isn't he? So, and he's a youngster who could improve, and Klopp's shown an ability to improve players. So if he isn't,
I think we're short. We're recording when Kent hasn't gone, but Wilson has, and I don't think Kent's going to get anywhere near the first team ever. But I think we're just one wide forward short of me having any sleepless nights. I really do, but I hope I'm wrong. Okay. Next, Laxalt.
I like him from what I've seen of him. He works flipping hard. Yeah, I had to change what I was going to say then. I remembered not to swear that time. He works his socks off. He's one hell of a player. Got pace as well, and he can cover both left back and left wing. I mean, I like him. I don't know why. He's just one of those hustle bustle players. He's not world class. He's not Messi or Ronaldo. Yeah. But he's always going to give you a performance. I like him. I would love to have had him sign.
Any reason why we went cold on him after initial interest,
It's the problem is he doesn't want to come and sit behind Robertson. And he's not going to replace Mane. So you just they just look at it and go, well, when am I going to play? Well, you'll get cup games and when the players need a rest, you'll get him. It's like, who wants to do that? Not players of quality.
I think people will be up in arms. There'll be a revolution if somebody replace Mane.
Well, he was fantastic in the running, wasn't he?
Superb player. And I remember there was, when he first signed, there was doubts about his temperament or what. Or
he has. The problem is he's had a few problems where he's down tools at teams. He did the same. It was Salzburg. He was in Austria. He downed tools.
That's right.
Then he got a move to Southampton, and he was playing really well. Man United came in for him. The move fell through because Southampton, didn't meet Southampton's asking price. He downed tools, and then he only picked them up again every time there was a big TV game. He only turned up for them. You know what I mean? He was playing. He wasn't bothering for a while. Down. Then he got his act together and then we came in and bought him. So there has been a few problems with him, with that attitude problem, but he's not shown any of that for us. So, yeah.
None at all. I think he's a fabulous player. We're so lucky to have him.
He's been excellent for us. But the other thing with Laxalt as well was the emergence of Larouci. Or Larouci or whatever. We'll get to that later, I know, but yeah.
We'll get that to, exactly, yeah. So that's good to know. Right. Fabinho to Real Madrid, that never had any legs in it.
No, it's just this story keeps cropping up, and the PSG ones. Every time he's either due to face them or they want to unsettle a team. There's always rumours about the players. These Spanish ones, they just put out the media are trained to put out stories when they want them to. Basically,
I think that was a Colombian journalist on Twitter that needed clicks. I think it was, but
Might well have been.
I'm glad we can. Glad we can put that to bed. And for 65 million, that's
no, not happening.
Jokes there, really.
It'd need to be treble figure, to 100 million plus.
Because he's really, really picked up his game. Because I really thought, I know that you were really excited about him when he first signed, and then he had that bedding in period where I thought, this could go either way. But
you must have seen the amount of stick I got over that about, is he ever going to play? He's useless and all this, but. He soon proved he's good. He's one of those, he learns and he adapts his game and he fits in gradually. He was the same at Monaco. It took him a while. He wasn't, the season they won the French league, he wasn't actually that good in midfield. I wasn't that impressed with him. It was the season after when he came in, when everybody else had gone virtually, and it was Fabinho was sensational. He carried them for the season. And then when they sold him to us, obviously they're in relegation trouble, which tells its own story.
Wasn't he the one that made Bakayoko look really good? Or am I mistaken?
I think Bakayoko is a good player. He just was unlucky. He was badly used at Chelsea. It's not like Chelsea's fault as such. They just didn't quite figure out how to get the most to him, and he wasn't settled in England straight away, and the fans were on his back because he started off poorly and stuff. It's just one of those things. It's a culmination of things, Sometimes you're playing alongside Kante as well. It does tend to make you look a bit crap. It doesn't matter how good you are. You're not going to look good next to him, are you? In comparison.
Yeah, the guy's a phenom. Coutinho to Arsenal or Spurs?
Well, I think there's Barcelona just looking to offload him, so anyone who'll take him, basically.
I think at the time of this recording, Spurs, he said
pulled
no
out,
to
haven't
Spurs.
they? Oh, is it him that said no? I don't. I lost track.
I think Coutinho said no to Spurs, but all right. So you think anyone will come in Wilson's gone, and if Kent goes, do you think
I think Kent will
come in on the last day?
Oh, well, it's either Leeds do a deal for him. They seem to be about the only ones left in for him now to buy him, and if they don't, he'll probably go back up to Glasgow on loan. I think that's the problem is that's his preference. That's what he wants to do is go back up to Glasgow. Rangers couldn't afford to pay the price. So loan's going to be there. His missus is still up there. You got to remember his girlfriend's there.
Gotcha. Right.
His bird's in Glasgow, and he wants to go there.
Right, and clearly that has a massive bearing on his decision. And Gerrard really loves him.
Yeah, exactly. And at that level, and the thing about him is that while I'm not the biggest fan of him, I don't think he's good enough to make it at Liverpool. The one thing I do like about him is he plays in big games. He's not one to go hiding.
Doesn't go missing,
Yeah, now, Ojo, on the other hand, that they've borrowed, he goes missing. Yeah. He's too laid back and he doesn't build. But Kent, he comes out, he rises for those games. The big games against Celtic was when his best performances for Rangers. Because I
remember when
he gets going for them. He raises his game, and that's good for a team like Rangers because all the games are big, basically, aren't they? When you're playing in front of 40,000 people, they're big games.
Yeah. Do you think if Kent goes, Wilson's already gone, we'll get one in tomorrow?
Well, we don't need to replace a player who's never going to play for us.
Yeah.
The only time he's going to play for us would be an extreme need. We'd need to have about 40 players out injured.
Okay. Now, why didn't we sell Wilson? Why are we loaning him?
Because nobody had paid the money we were asking.
Gotcha. Okay.
What we're hoping is Bournemouth, because they were the ones that were interested in buying him, hopefully, they'll have him on loan, like him enough to buy him.
We've had their pants down enough. I don't think they're going to fall for that again.
Well, the problem is he's a bit of a highlight reel, one of those highlight reel heroes, isn't he? Where he does one thing good in the game and everyone remembers it and thinks he's great. Whereas they forget the other 89 minutes, he does nothing. He just contributes nothing.
Yeah, true.
He's just a bit of a jogger, isn't he? You know, he's got quality, ability, but he strolls around the pitch a bit too much for my liking. He's not a Klopp type player.
I think, my opinion, I think he's a championship player at best. A good championship player. All right, I left this as long as I could. Simon Mignolet, discuss.
Lovely fella, crap keeper. Though, according to, I still can't get over how they announced him as signing one of the best keepers in the Premier League, and then they unveiled it as Simon Mignolet. It's like, hang on.
The joke's on you guys.
Yeah, well, was it? Do you think it was meant to be a joke? You think they were doing it tongue in cheek, or do you think they really believed it? I'm not so sure. I don't know, because it's the record fee ever paid for a Belgian club for a goalkeeper.
I'm not sure the Belgians are renowned for comic irony. So he had a win record. His was while he was in goal for us, he won 107 games, drew 51, and lost 47. That's a win ratio of 106% or something.
106%? I don't think so.
Yeah,
can't be 106%. Your maths is terrible.
I got a G in GCSE maths.
I can tell that.
I was quite proud of that.
Yeah, that's probably better than you deserved. Judging by that,
Adrian as a replacement.
Jesus, still guy just can't look past you saying
you do the maths then.
Well, it's less than. It's like if he's played how many games?
56%.
It's going to be just about 50, just over 50%. Do you remember he went through a run of games where the first shot on goal went in as well, didn't he?
Mate, I remember. Honestly, I'm going to tell you this. I'll tell you it straight.
On target,
he scored, and he saved that penalty in his first game. And I thought, oh my God, what a keeper we've signed. How wrong could I have been? But Adrian as a replacement, I think he's very adequate. I like him. He's got a bit of swag. He plays with confidence.
He can kick the ball as well.
The ball at his feet. And he can.
Yeah, that's one thing that Mignolet could never be accused of. I've never seen anyone so bad at kicking a ball in my life. Even when I was at school, you know what I mean? Primary school, I'm talking about. I can't remember anyone being that bad at kicking.
All right, mate. Let's just wish him luck in life.
I'd love him to do really well there. I mean, because like you said, by all accounts, he's meant to be a terrific lad. But, I've never met anybody who doesn't say that he's a lovely fella. Never. Yeah, so I'd really like him to do well, but I'm just glad he's gone. To be honest, and I say that. Sorry, Simon. I know you're not going to listen to this,
way,
but I just don't think you were good enough. Great, and that's what it's about. I'm afraid. It's a harsh
word. Simon Mignolet on line 2. Do you want to talk to him, Tristan?
I just need the toilet a sec. Can you take this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'd have won the league title if that's when we came second under Rodgers. If we'd have had a decent keeper, I think. I think that's fair to say. Well, we wish him luck.
Yeah, that's all it's about. He's done well. He's worked hard, but he just wasn't good enough. So can't fault him for his effort, though.
Absolutely. Right. Let's talk about the kids. And it's a topical and relevant subject, seeing as we haven't got any big signing coming in. I want to hear your thoughts on the kids and what you've been told about them by the people in the know. And let's assess some of the more prominent ones. And are they first team ready? Let's start with the Colossus, the 17-year-old from we got from FC Zwolle, if I said that correctly, Sepp Vandenberg.
Well, somebody told me, and I'm going to have to take this as read because I've not seen him play at all. But somebody told me he's apparently lightning quick and used to play up front or something. So apparently he's a bit of a player, though. Really good player. And he claims he can cover right back as well, but I don't know about that. I'm not saying that that's definite or anything. But they apparently he's a bit of a special talent. So beat off.
Do you
Didn't
think
we
he's
beat
first team
Bayern
ready?
to him? Didn't we beat Bayern to his signing?
This is a story I heard, and I don't know if you can verify it, but Bayern wanted him so badly. He was having a medical at Melwood, and they were on the phone to him saying, "We want you to sign for us. We want you to sign for us."
Yeah, that was the claim. I don't know how true that is. I know they wanted him, but like I don't know about that. Like they'd have been on the phone to his agent, wouldn't they? No, because he's 17, so they couldn't have been. Can't have an agent, can he?
Yeah.
Has to be 18.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's his parents or something like that.
Yeah,
isn't
to
it?
be parents. Yeah, because that's what I had a chat with Ed2 about. Because there's actually one player who was something like 15 years old, signed for a club somewhere on the continent, and he was pictured with his agent and mother. Like, as two people. I don't mean his agent was his mother.
Right.
I mean an agent and his mother. And I said, how can that be? You know, surely that's illegal. I thought you couldn't have an agent. And he said, yeah, no, that's illegal. So he was going to ask about that one, but I forgot to. I'll have to remind him. Get back to him about that. See if he can tell me what has happened there. Because, yeah, 18 years old.
Is he first team ready, Vandenberg?
At that age, I don't think anybody's actually ready. He's one of those that...
Could he do a job?
He could come in and cover, but he's not going to play 50 games a season, no. If that's where... You know, he could come in if there's a short term, you know, play a couple of cup games and that, you know, but he's not going to... No, he's not
like
ready from what I'm told.
Like Hoover did the last season, deputise one or two games, yeah.
Yeah, and the other lad's who's gone now.
Right. What about Harvey Elliott, youngest Premiership player and still only 16? It's incredible to think, right? You were still 5 years away from losing your virginity at his age.
5
and
years.
He's playing for the.
I still haven't.
And he's playing for the Liverpool first team.
I still haven't. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You're not meant to boast about stuff like that.
I was boasting. I was just open for offers. But
don't look at me like.
You've offered plenty of times. I don't want it.
I know, you make me feel insecure and like, Steve, I'm vulnerable now.
Oh, wow, so you should
I've got
be.
issues.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. I get the messages all the time from you, so I know. But that Elliott...
What, the pleading and the begging?
Yeah, too right.
Let's get back to
Elliott,
Elliott.
I just said about them not ready at that age, but I've got to say, Elliott's one of those exceptions that stands out. He's ready.
Harvey Elliott is ready for the first team at 16 years of age. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I don't think he'll play that many games. I don't think he'll come on. You know, he's not going to play 40 games or anything. But what I mean is he could, if you need, you know, if you had a run of injuries, he could come in and cover, and it wouldn't faze him in the slightest.
He's that highly rated.
He's that good as well.
Wow.
He's been very lucky because he's been overshadowed by the Sessegnon twins at Fulham.
Right.
So, you know, he didn't get all the hype because everyone was too busy watching these two other kids that were breaking through, you know, and there's two twins as well. And obviously it's a bit more exciting. It's a bit better story, isn't it? These two twins breaking through, the Sessegnon ones. So Elliott could fly under the radar a bit. And obviously he's a year behind them in age as well, a year or two behind them as well.
Yeah.
So they were still busy following him. I think is it 2? I don't know. I've lost track of how old the Sessegnon. They seem like they've been around for about 20 years now. But yeah, they kept. It's because I'm thinking of Stefan Sessegnon, isn't it? They used to play for Sunderland, probably.
Sunderland,
yeah. But they, because they were there and they were making the headlines. People weren't taking notice of who else was coming through, and so he was able to just develop his game. Like
watching this kid play, I think that he's going to go central in the next. His development will be central. I think he'll be a number 10 or a creative midfielder for sure. I don't think he'll stay on the wing.
You can never tell. I mean, who would have thought Trent would ever end up at the right back? He was he was a midfielder.
I don't have any. I don't have any belief that Trent will go back into midfield, like people say. To be honest with you,
that was the original plan. He only came in at right back as injury cover. That was all it was. It was just a short-term injury
Right.
cover. The thing is, he's been that good at it that it's kind of like, well, what do you do? You know, we think he's better in midfield, but he's that good at right back. Who's going to move him? So, as long as he carries on playing this well at right back, unless something happens like an injury crisis in midfield, and we've got another right back, another right back comes in, takes his place, and then he goes into midfield and as a stormer, I think it'll just end up he will stay right back, unless, like I said, you can never tell though. I mean, who would have thought Milner would end up in central midfield?
Yeah.
He's played a season at left back, and right back he's covered, and
he started as a right midfield with City, at Leeds, didn't he?
Winger, yeah. He was proper out and out old-fashioned winger. He did left and right wing.
Exactly. The frightening thing about Trent, he's got the potential to be better as well. So all bodes well for the future.
And his delivery is stunning.
On the spot, on a sixpence. Right, here's the guy I talk about, Larouci, because I remember the conversation we had, and you telling me he was very highly rated by the coaching staff, and I saw him play, and I thought this guy he doesn't look out of place at all. He's comfortable on the ball. He's pacey. Nothing seems to faze him. He's got that exuberance of youth, that swag. I really, really like this guy. And I think if anything happened to Robbo, an injury, I think this guy I'd be very happy for him to slot in and take Robbo's position.
And that's the same thing in the coaching staff as well. I think that as well. That he'll be the one, when Robbo needs a rest, stick him in. Apparently he can play
really
right.
That good.
Apparently people think, I've said, I don't know because I never actually asked this. I only thought of him as covering for left back, but somebody else saying he can play right back as well, just as well. So that could be it. He could get quite a few games this season, allowing Trent and Robbo to have a break every so often. If that's true.
Fantastic.
I don't know. I haven't checked that. So I don't know. So but if so, that'd be great.
Yeah, because they played an extraordinary amount of games last season, both Robbo and Trent.
Yeah, and Trent did have a few breaks, though, remember? And Robbo, at the end of the season, got a couple of rests, which he needed. And it did make a huge difference to his game when he'd had a rest. You could see it. He was so much better afterwards.
Yeah, and Robbo also, Trent also had... Gomez was getting injured as well.
Trent went out for a while injured early in the season, remember? Well, that's why we had the kids playing, remember? And Fabinho in centre back.
Sorry, my wife just walked in, so you're gonna have to. I had to listen to her.
You didn't have to. You don't normally. Why are you doing it now? Is that just showing off because there's people listening?
There's probably one person listening.
Yeah, but, I'm listening.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's my point. So what I was trying to say was that Trent had to play an extraordinary amount of games because Gomez was injured. So there wasn't much cover for him. So he had to play more games than he should have done, really.
Yeah, it didn't harm his development, though, did it?
No, exactly.
But we did have that. Remember, we had to have. Was it when he was suspended as well, wasn't it? We had Henderson at right back for a bit and Milner at right back, and that. Was he? And then now, was he injured?
the other kiddie I want to talk about that's a great smooth
segue.
Segue. That's what I was trying to say. Yana Hova. Surely too early for this guy, right?
Yeah, he's physically, he needs to bulk up a bit, grow up a bit. He's still growing. So Vandenberg and Elliott are much more physically developed than he is. So it won't stop him being able to play, but it mean that you are risking injuries. Because it's like Gerrard, when he first emerged, he suffered quite a few niggly injuries because he was coming through early and that. But I
remember his back and he had hamstring problems, back problems.
Well, they were all related from growth Yeah, it was all
Growth
the same
spurts,
thing. Yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
I was trying to think
yeah.
of Spates.
He didn't have a bad game at right back in the Charity Shield though, Hoover.
Ye- In the did he play it right back in the Charity Shield?
Yeah, he played right back. Yeah, he
Trent played
played
there.
with confidence.
Trent played there. Oh, you mean when he
Oh
came on?
no. Yeah,
You're
when
talking
he
about
came on, that's right. Yeah,
No, you're talking about the friendlies, aren't you?
the last friendly. That's right. He played
Yeah.
against. Yeah, sorry.
I say he plays in the friendlies. I know that, like, but bless you. It's your age, mate. You
Yeah,
can't expect it. I
I'm
mean,
getting old. Yeah,
what
yeah,
are
yeah,
you?
yeah.
78 now.
And about 14 days over. Right, Brewster. I know you like this guy a lot.
Yeah, the only reason he didn't get a few games last season is because of injuries. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he's recovered. A bit like Ox, where you do worry that it's cost him something. But yeah, he should be. He's a special talent, really is.
How good can he be? How good can he be?
He's truly special. I mean, this kid could be pushing for a first team, a slot in the front three. Not yet. He's
that
not
good.
quite, but like I'm talking about, like in a couple of years' time. Yeah, he's that good. Just
I
depends.
have to admit,
got to keep him fit.
Yeah, I have to admit I've not seen much of him at all. But when I did see him play, what impressed me most was his movement. He's got very intelligent.
That's what I like about him. He's smart. He's not. He's bright. You know what I mean. He thinks. There's not many players at his age that do these days. They tend to just follow orders. He thinks for himself and he moves well. That'll go far.
Yeah, I think he could. He plays in the mould of Firmino, I think.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout. But he's a bit more of a penalty box player than Firmino.
Yeah, but I think he's definitely got some potential from what I thought, and I hope he does make the grade because by all accounts he's a loved member of the squad now as well.
Yeah, I really like him, I really do.
All right, mate. Well, we better let's get on to the Norwich game. Let's preview the Norwich game.
Oh yeah, of course. Friday night.
Friday night, eh? It's back.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about it being on a Friday though. I don't know if I like that, but
I think it's modelling the US sports, where you play Friday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, whatever it is. I think it's all to do about viewership and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know, but I quite liked having. For me, it was quite nice to have a day off. Like, you know what I mean? When I could actually have an early night, I could have a relaxing day off. Because Friday's the weekend here, obviously. So you go and spend time with friends and that. Now I'm going to be working it as well, So, yeah.
Oh, I was wondering when we were going to bitch about your work content and how much content you do for the site.
Well, I have to do it all because because people like you do nothing. You see, So
I'm sorry for having a life, mate.
A life.
You're like Lynn, you're like Lynn from the canteen. Exactly, you're like Lynn from the canteen in Melwood. She's just expected to be there.
Yeah.
But actually, Lynn gets gratitude and match tickets, and you probably don't. So you're nothing like Lynn.
No, I was going to say she's much better off than I am. She gets paid more than me as well. My Auntie May used to get paid more when she was a cleaner there, and that was 20 years ago.
How long's it taken you for the sob story? But anyway, the Norwich team.
You've been setting me up for it. But yeah.
The Norwich team, mate. What do you make of them?
Well, Norwich play a very similar. They try and play a very similar type of game to the way Klopp plays. Not Stendhal. That's Barnsley. What's his name? They've got a German manager anyway, and he very much he's
Daniel Farke.
That's it, Farke, or something like that. It's one of those. It's one of those where you got to pronounce it right, or you're in trouble, isn't it?
you remember that Carry On movie when one of the characters was Mr. Farkyhas?
Which one was? Yeah, I'm not gonna. Otherwise, we'll get distracted.
Let's not go there.
Yeah,
exactly.
We don't want to get distracted.
So let's talk
It's not like us.
Exactly. No, no digressions here. Right. The Norwich team. What do you make of them and the German manager?
Well, he's a good manager. He's performed wonders there. It's not, it's not like they've just gone out and spunk loads of money on a team to come up and then stay up. They've tried to be clever. You know what I mean? They've tried to pick and choose, just buying what they can afford and staying within staying within reason, and try and do it properly. What's the word? Organic growth is what they're looking at. And
ooh, look at you!
I know. You can tell I've got notes, can't you? No, I haven't actually. This is me. Do nothing that professional and organised. But yeah,
organic growth was. Oh, I thought organic growth was puberty. I didn't know you could.
No, I just read it on the side of. I read it on the side of a seed packet earlier.
Fair enough, mate. What type of football will they play in the Premier League, do you think?
I think he'll stick with, unlike Huddersfield, who forgot the way they came up was playing a similar style to us. Klopp's style of football. I think Farke will stick with it because it works for him. I think he'll learn from that. He'll stick with the high press and he'll take the game to teams because they can't defend. They can't defend their way out. You can't make that mistake.
Well,
that was what Huddersfield did wrong.
Yeah. Under what's his name? Klopp's best mate.
Yeah, his best man as well.
It wasn't it? What's his name?
No, not. Oh my!
Escapes me now.
Oh God, I've forgotten his name. How soon you forget, eh?
Oh my God, this is the Alzheimer's kicking in.
Oh God, how old are we? Anyway, yeah, him. Yeah, that fella.
The one with the glasses. The German guy with the glasses that used to manage Huddersfield. Oh my God. There's people shouting it out as I can visualise people shouting it out.
Let's just pretend we've said it. And I'll cut that. I'll edit it in later. We'll move on.
You do that.
Yeah, I'll edit it in later. I'll just edit and you'll just hear me saying, like that.
That is testament that we're getting old. Yeah, if anything is, oh my God, pure evidence. If anything, if you ever needed some evidence that, oh my God, what is his name? Anyway, let's get back to this.
It wasn't Wagner, was it?
Wagner, that's it. You've got you used Google there, didn't you?
No, it was like I kept saying to myself, Wagner. No, that's the musician guy. That's a bloke who wrote music. No, it wasn't him. I can see his face in front of me all the way as well.
And I know you don't like to do predictions.
No. I don't do predictions.
I know you. I know. I think we all know that. But the fact that they'll come out to play against us bodes well for a Liverpool victory because we'll exploit the spaces. So fingers crossed they do. Okay, so your Liverpool team against Norwich.
I would say it bodes well for a good game rather than it bodes well for a victory. Should be an exciting match, to watch, I mean.
It doesn't really bother me, mate. I just want 3 points. I just want a good start.
I want to win, but I mean, it's nice to be able to win in style rather than, watch us struggle and labour and then everyone comes on the site and whines, see, we should have bought 75 different players because we're crap. Look at it. We only just beat Norwich. And that's what we'll get. If we don't beat them 17-0, it'll be full of, we should have bought Pepe or whoever. Or Coutinho should have come back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's play with style and grace and effervescence and all that kind of good stuff, and let's just tank them, eh?
Yeah, hopefully roll over them.
Yeah. What's your team for Norwich, mate?
Do you know what? If Mane's fit enough to play, he's the only change I think I'd make from the Charity Shield team.
So you'd have Gomez instead of Matip?
Yeah. Then again, do you know what? I make no bones about it. I think Gomez is 100% the better player, and I think long term he has to be the one, long term, we have to build around him and Van Dijk as the two centre-backs. But Matip has earned his place. So, you're right. I'm going to say that 2 changes then. I would stick with Matip.
Rewind a little bit. I'm what? What did you say? I'm what?
I'd make 2 changes, not 1.
No. Rewind a little bit more. You said I was what?
No, I don't know that bit. No, I didn't hear that. No, I think you're hearing things.
Yeah,
no, I don't know. I think you misheard me. Yeah.
So you'd have obviously the usual suspects at the back, but instead of Gomez, you'd have Matip.
Yep.
And Origi for Mane, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's the only changes I'd make at the moment. Obviously fitness and form notwithstanding, because obviously we're not watching the training to see who's playing, well and who's in form and not in the training. So there might be other changes needed. Somebody might have a niggle but like if everybody's fit and ready to go, I'd bring in Mane for Origi on the left and Matip. And it really hurts me to say that because I love Gomez. I really do love Gomez, but Matip deserves the chance to stay. I mean, he's done so, and he scored. He scored his goal and that in the Charity Shield, and that you can't not play him, can you? Really?
Matip is full of confidence. He's playing like the player he was when he first came to Liverpool and played those fantastic, 137 minutes, whatever it was. He played really well for.
You mean when he didn't actually have to do any defending that first year? I mean,
in the warm-up,
Well, he did improve. At the end of last season, though, he did improve game by game. He was playing better and better, and it's
absolutely.
You have to say you've got to go with the man who deserves the shot rather than the new boy. Just because, well, he's not the new boy, but you know what I mean. He's coming back from injury and that.
Gomez had. If Gomez had had a stormer in the Charity Shield and he played like he was before his injury last season, it'd have been a no-brainer. But Matip, as you say, deserves his chance. He's full of confidence. I think the defence trusts him more. And let's just go with.
Gomez looked a bit off as well in the Charity Shield. He struggled a few times. He was getting caught in behind. Mine, so was Van Dijk, which is a bit unusual. They were caught out of both of them. The fullbacks were having a mare.
Yeah. But Gomez is notorious for after he's come back from injury, he starts slowly. So it's what he does. So we'll be okay. It's a great.
But what I mean is you bring in Matip because obviously he's not back to 100% yet.
Exactly. But I'd go. That'd be my team as well. I'm looking to. I just love the fact that we kept Origi because I think the guy deserves. I think the guy deserves a statue because he's such a humble, modest guy, and the flack he took and he takes.
He was on his way out, and Sturridge was ahead of him in the pecking order at the start of the season. It was like he stayed and he got his head down and he worked and he worked and he worked. And he forced his way into Klopp's thinking. And that was why he was able to come on and score those goals, because of his hard work. It's not because he just, because we didn't have anybody else. Because Klopp would have stuck with Sturridge. But, Origi worked and earned the chance and then scored the goals. And I tell you what, having a player that can come off the bench and score valuable goals like that is just priceless. You can't buy those players.
David Fairclough all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He made a career out of it as well.
Absolutely.
And they're important.
Sure. And he deserves that contract. I mean, he really does deserve that contract. He won us the European Cup.
Well, I just don't get what people expect from him because he gets a lot of criticism and I don't get it. You don't want him to. It doesn't matter if he doesn't contribute in any other way. If he scores those important goals in the last minutes of games, nothing else matters. Do you know what I mean? If he wins games in the dying seconds, what else he does, it doesn't matter if he's Bambi on ice, if he comes up with the winning goal in the last minute of the Champions League, again, you know what I mean? It's like, You know, if he
Or
scores
Everton.
against Everton, yeah, that's what I mean. If he scores like in the dying seconds against Everton again, I don't care if he's been awful for 90 minutes if he does that. It's that
Or
simple.
Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. He's priceless, what he can do. Really is.
Love the guy. And, okay, mate. There was something I was going to say to you that was going to completely change your life, but I forgot now. I'm looking forward to Henderson. I'm looking forward to his captaincy again this season because he really came into his own last season, and obviously it topped it off by the European Cup win. And that hug with his dad was just something else, man.
I feel sorry for him because he takes a lot of stick over some comments Ferguson made years ago, but people forget that those
about his gait or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, about the way he runs going to cause him injuries.
Yeah.
Well, he hadn't had any injuries for years until he got one injury, and suddenly everyone's saying, "Oh yeah, Ferguson was right." No, Ferguson was bitter because he turned him down. Ferguson had been tapping him up when he was a youngster at Sunderland. He turned them down, and I remember because we were discussing it on the Man United site quite a few times about Jordan Henderson. I was saying I liked him. I thought, he's going to be a good signing for them. But he turned them down because he didn't think he was ready. At that time, obviously, Man United were still winning trophies, still winning titles, So, and he was just a kid. But he was captain in Sunderland, but he was still just a kid. And he didn't think he was ready to go and, get a place in their team. So he turned them down. Then Liverpool came in for him. Ferguson said, look, we're still interested, still want to sign you if you want to sign. And he said, no, I think I've got a better chance of making a go of it. It'll be better for my career to go to Liverpool. I've got more chance.
Right.
I think I'll still be able to win trophies. Just the same, they're building something and there's a future. But I think I've got more, in the short term as well. I'll get into their side. So basically, he turned down Fergie, and Fergie doesn't like it. He gets bitter about things like that. For all the great things he's done, at times he can be a petty man. That's why he got rid of Stam. Sometimes.
They got rid of Stam way too early.
Yeah.
But, mate, I know you don't do predictions, but I think we'll go on to we'll win the game 3-0.
I don't want to hear, Casey. If you've ruined it, if you've thrown it away because of you, oh God, I'm going to blame you if we lose, if we don't win.
All right.
If we don't win by 50 goals, it's all your fault now.
I'll have that. All right, superstitious Sally, we'll move on.
You know how superstitious I am. You've been here and watched the game with me.
I can't believe you blamed me for that draw. It was
your fault. You're a Jonah.
All right, mate. Let's move on.
Jonah.
I want your opinion on the Snapchat video of Harvey Elliott with alluding to the kid's 16. Come on. I mean, he made a mistake. He apologised for it. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all done stupid things. It isn't the first time he's done something stupid on Snapchat, admittedly, but he's just a kid. And what bothers me is that everybody's jumping on it like it's anything to do with them. The only, he's apologised for it, but he shouldn't be apologising to me or anybody else looking. It should only be Harry Kane he's apologising to. It's only Harry Kane that's got a right to be offended. It's got nothing to do with anyone else, really. At the end of the day, has it? I mean, what's it got to do with me if he's taking the mick out of Harry Kane? If he was what's his face, Darren Farley or whatever his name is, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Is it Darren Farley?
Yeah.
Anyway,
the impressionist.
Yeah. Or one of these. I was trying to think of the other one actually. The one on, one of the any of them anyway. Any of these impressionists. Nobody would think twice about him doing that. So why are they offended when a kid does it? I don't get it. The only person, the only person who's got a right to be offended is Harry Kane.
Sure, and that's the operative word. He is a kid. He's 16. If you can remember, well, you probably can't remember when you were 16, but at 16, how imbecilic and how immature were you?
Exactly.
Exactly. All right, mate. Well,
the key is he's got to learn from it. That's the key. Is don't do it again. You're going to make mistakes, but you learn from them. You don't do them again. That's the important thing. And I would have liked him to apologise directly to Harry Kane. You know what I mean? To have sent the message. When he apologised, I would have liked him to, but I don't think that's his fault. I think someone at the club should have said, you know what, it's nothing to do with anyone. Let's go. You know, we know what people are like, and people are looking for reasons to be offended. But Harry Kane's the one who's been that you've insulted, if you like. So he's the person you should apologise to. That's what I'd like to do.
Mate. Maybe there was an internal text message or an email or a whatever sent to Harry Kane, and
but it would have just been, it would have just then, like, so the Spurs fans could get off his back as well. I think the club should have thought of that. That he should have directly said to Harry Kane, "I'm sorry, I didn't, I hope you weren't offended. I've got a great respect for you as a player." That kind of thing is all he needs to do, isn't it? And show that, if you'd like to. If you'd like to meet up and I can apologise in person anytime or whatever, anything like that, then people understand when kids make mistakes. But
some courtesy.
It's showing
etiquette.
That's a great word for it, especially as it's Kane's a hero to a lot of people. So you got to treat him with a bit of respect. He's worked hard as well to get where he is as well, so you can't fault the lad. So he deserves respect. So.
And I agree with that. And it gives Spurs fans another something else to complain about apart from the handball in the cup final. All right, mate. Let's talk about 3 important players this season that you feel need to make an impact for us to be successful.
Oh, to be successful? I thought you meant who needed it for their career's sake. Oh, right. Oh, that's different. And in that case, it's quite simple, really. It's the spine of the team. It's got to be Alisson, Van Dijk.
I have that, yeah.
And then the other one would have to be one of the forwards. But it's just that any of them, one of them, as long as one of them has a great season again.
See, I feel I agree with you on Alisson. For sure, I agree on Alisson because he can't let his standards drop because he is the main man in that defence. I think Keita has to have a standout season. I think this is his season to break out.
Yeah, but do you mean for us to succeed or for his career? Because that's what I was saying. If it was for us to succeed, I'm talking about. If it was for his career...
No, I think for us to succeed, I think that he brings something different. He breaks those lines. He can create more opportunities.
But we succeeded in winning the Champions League without him performing that well most of the season.
But maybe we would have won the Premiership.
Okay, fair enough point. Yeah,
so, and I think I alluded to this earlier as well. I think if he makes those mazy runs, he breaks those lines, he goes beyond players.
Yeah,
Firmino doesn't have to come deeper. He'll have the ball in the box. He can shoot in the box, and hopefully it'll result in more goals, So I think there's a big onus on Keita.
And he does make the runs for Salah to pass to, as we spoke about earlier with the Charity Shield.
Absolutely. I think he's a supremely intelligent footballer. I know he's made mistakes in Germany, and he's got a bit of there is an issue with attitude and behaviour, etc. But I think that he can really. He can really put a lot of wrongs right with playing good football this season,
So,
and I think, and my third one is Mane.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking rather than that, I'm thinking Firmino's the one out of the front three because he makes them tick. Even if Mane's the best player or Salah's the best player, depending on which season you're looking at. It's when Firmino plays that they play well, at their best.
See, I think with Firmino, I actually think when people think he's not playing well, he's actually playing well because of the runs he makes, the movements, the work. If he's not scoring goals, that's not all what he's about. He's doing everything else so well that you don't really see it, kind of thing.
It's not just that, like what he does. It's the way he leads the press. He's the one that decides when we press and when we sit off. If he presses, everybody presses. If he sits off, everybody sits off.
I agree. He does do that a lot of the time as well.
He knows.
He has a lot of responsibility. Yeah.
He knows when to do it. He's a very clever player. I really like him. I think he's fantastic. Massively underrated, if anything.
And that's ironic for you to say that, because all Liverpool players laud him, but the people outside Liverpool and outside the fan base don't really appreciate and see his value.
Yeah, well, you only got to look at Ed333's comments. He doesn't get it. It's all. He just doesn't see what he does half the time, and I don't understand it because he's a fabulous player.
But then he thinks Gomez is like a superb player.
He did say at the start of last season Pickford was as good as Alisson as well. So, you've got to question his judgment, to be fair.
The only thing Pickford is superb at is picking the ball out of the net.
I know. To be fair, his removals firm's brilliant.
Have you used him, have you? All right, mate. Anything else you need to add?
Nothing that I can think of. No, I was supposed to be recording the next bit of questions, so I need to save my voice or anything.
What are you up to now? Question
Third
3, number 3, aren't you?
Yeah. It's all ready to. I've just got to record it, but I do this instead. So save my voice because my throat's been so sore lately.
I was going to say something then, but I better not because it's a family show. But what was I going to say to you? It's been emotional, Mr. Burke.
Has it?
Yeah. I've had a tear or two.
It's funny, your voice always brings tears to my eyes. Not in a good way. Not in a good way.
Well, I suppose this is going to make bedtime listening for somebody.
Well, I think that's what they use the other podcasts for, the ones I do on my own. I think people just listen to it to send them to sleep. So now
scare their kids with.
Yeah. So now they got an hour and a half of it now.
And the rest. Yeah, I can just imagine. If you don't go to bed, little Johnny, I'm going to put on Uncle Tristan's podcast for you.
I'll make you listen to it all.
Exactly, yeah, from start to finish. All right, mate. I think let's leave it there and let's wish the boys and Klopp luck for the new season, and let's bring home number 19 and number 7.
Yeah, fingers crossed it's a good one.
Absolutely, mate. Love you long time.
Yeah, I know.
So you love me?
Well, I'm not going to say that, am I? Lying's something I've been taught not to do.
Don't keep me hanging, Tristan.
Sorry, mate.
See you later, mate.
All right, take care.
See you, mate.
Bye-bye.
Bye, bye.